Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today I thought we'd take a look at the top 10 anime series based on video games. Let's get started. 10. Devil May Cry. Set in a dark modern world where demons are starting to spill into the human realm, the series follows Dante, a cocky, wisecracking demon hunter who takes on dangerous jobs while barely taking anything seriously. But this isn't just random monster hunting. A mysterious figure known as the White Rabbit is orchestrating chaos behind the scenes, triggering a larger conflict that could lead to a full-scale demonic invasion. As Dante cuts his way through enemies, he's also pulled deeper into secrets tied to his past and his family. The tone leans darker than the games at times, but still keeps that signature Devil May Cry style: fast, flashy combat, over-the-top action, and plenty of attitude. Think swords, guns, acrobatics, and demons getting absolutely destroyed in style. Animation is handled by Studio Mir, so expect smooth, high-energy fight scenes with a cinematic feel. And with Adi Shankar behind the project, the same producer as Castlevania, the series aims for a more mature, story-driven approach. It's not a direct retelling of the games, but more of a reimagining, bringing in familiar characters like Dante, Lady, and Virgil, while telling a new story that both fans and newcomers can follow. 9. Tales of Zestiria the Cross. The story follows Sori, an optimistic human raised by spirits, who becomes the Shepherd, a chosen figure meant to purify monsters and restore balance to the world. Alongside allies like Mikleo, Alicia, and later Rose, he travels across kingdoms trying to stop the spread of chaos and defeat the mysterious Lord of Calamity. On the surface, it sounds like a classic fantasy adventure, and visually, it absolutely delivers. Animated by Ufotable, the series looks incredible. Clean character designs, glowing magic effects, and some genuinely cinematic fight scenes make it one of the best-looking adaptations in the Tales franchise. But once you get past the visuals, things get a bit more mixed. The story can feel rushed and inconsistent, especially if you haven't played the game. Major plot points come and go quickly, and some character arcs don't get the depth they need, which makes parts of the journey feel disconnected. That said, it's not all negative. The second half adds more depth to certain characters, especially Rose, and tries to expand on ideas the game didn't fully explore. For some viewers, that actually makes parts of the anime more interesting than the original story. 8. Nier Automata version 1.1a. Earth has been overrun by machine life forms, and the last remnants of humanity are said to be hiding on the moon. To take the planet back, android soldiers like 2B and 9S are sent down to fight an endless war against the machines. At first it feels simple, androids versus robots, but it doesn't stay that way for long. As missions unfold, the story starts digging into heavier themes: identity, purpose, emotion, and what it even means to be alive. The machines begin acting human, and the androids? Not as emotionless as they claim. The tone is quiet, melancholic, and sometimes unsettling, with bursts of intense action in between. It's less about constant fighting and more about the questions it leaves you with after everything happens. Visually, the anime stays faithful to the game's style, with clean animation and some strong action sequences, though production delays did affect consistency in places. Where it really stands out is the storytelling. It follows the original game closely, but isn't afraid to change things, adding new scenes, shifting perspectives, and expanding certain characters. If you've played the game, it feels familiar but different. If you haven't, it can be confusing at times, but still powerful. 7. Dragon Quest: The Adventure of Dai. The story follows Dai, a young boy raised by monsters who dreams of becoming a true hero. When the Dark Lord's forces rise again, Dai sets out on a journey alongside allies like Pop and Mom to stop a growing threat and protect the world. At first it feels like a simple, old-school fantasy story, but it quickly becomes something bigger. As the journey continues, the stakes rise, the fights get more intense, and the characters actually grow. Dai isn't just strong, he earns his power. And characters like Pop go from comic relief to genuinely compelling heroes with real development. The tone balances lighthearted adventure with surprisingly emotional moments, especially as the story digs into themes like courage, sacrifice, and what it truly means to be a hero. Animation-wise, it's consistently solid. The fights are flashy, easy to follow, and packed with energy, especially during major battles and transformations. And unlike a lot of long-running series, this one sticks the landing. It tells a complete story, builds toward a real ending, and gives its characters satisfying conclusions. 6. Cyberpunk Edgerunners. Edgerunners drops you into Night City, following David Martinez, a kid trying to survive after his life falls apart overnight. With nothing left to lose, he dives into the world of mercenaries, enhancing his body with illegal cyberware and teaming up with a crew of outlaws chasing money, status, and freedom. At first, it feels like a fast, stylish rise-to-the-top story, but it doesn't stay that way. The deeper David goes, the more the world pushes back. The upgrades come with consequences, the violence escalates, and the line between ambition and self-destruction starts to blur. The tone is intense, emotional, and brutal, without needing to over-explain anything. It moves fast, but every moment hits hard, especially when it slows down to focus on relationships, particularly between David and Lucy. Visually, it's exactly what you'd expect from Studio Trigger: bold colors, sharp animation, and chaotic high-energy action that perfectly matches the world's vibe. And the story? It sticks the landing. No filler, no dragging. It tells a complete, focused narrative that builds toward an ending that's hard to forget. 5. Persona 4 The Animation. Persona 4 The Animation follows Yu Narukami, a transfer student who ends up leading a group of friends investigating a series of bizarre murders tied to a hidden world inside televisions. At first, it feels like a supernatural mystery, but it quickly becomes something more personal. Each case forces the characters to confront darker parts of themselves, literally. The enemies they fight are manifestations of their own suppressed fears and insecurities, turning every battle into both a physical and emotional struggle. The tone balances a lot: mystery, action, comedy, and slice-of-life moments. And surprisingly, it works. One episode can be serious and tense, the next completely chaotic and funny, without losing its core identity. What really makes it stand out is the main character. Yu isn't just a blank protagonist like in the game. He's given a calm, slightly deadpan personality that leads to some genuinely funny and memorable moments, while still holding the group together when things get serious. Animation is solid, though not groundbreaking. The real strength comes from the characters, the pacing, and how well it adapts the game's story into something that feels natural in anime form. 4. SteinsGate. SteinsGate follows Rintaro Okabe, an eccentric college student running a tiny lab with his friends. What starts as harmless experiments quickly turns into something much bigger when they figure out how to send messages to the past using a modified microwave. At first, it feels slow, almost too slow. A lot of time is spent on quirky characters, weird jokes, and seemingly random events. But all of that setup matters, because once the story shifts, it hits hard. Small changes in the past start causing major consequences. Timelines begin to fracture, and Okabe is forced to confront the weight of every decision he's made. The tone flips from lighthearted to intense, emotional, and sometimes downright unsettling. What really makes it stand out is the tension. It's not just about time travel, it's about trying to fix things when every attempt makes something else worse. The characters carry it the whole way through, especially Okabe, whose journey from over-the-top and comedic to genuinely broken and determined feels real. Visually, it's simple, but the direction, pacing, and soundtrack do most of the heavy lifting. And when everything comes together, it sticks. 3. Castlevania. Castlevania follows Trevor Belmont, the last surviving member of a disgraced monster-hunting family, as he gets pulled into a war against Dracula and his army of demons. Along the way, he teams up with Sypha, a powerful mage, and Alucard, Dracula's own son. At first, it feels like a straightforward revenge story, but it doesn't stay that simple. The series leans heavily into character motivations, especially Dracula himself. He's not just a villain, he's driven by grief, anger, and a desire to wipe out humanity after a personal tragedy. And that gives the whole conflict a darker, more emotional edge. The tone is mature, intense, and often brutal, with sharp dialogue and moments that hit harder than expected. And when the fights happen, they go all in. Animation is a major highlight. Fast, fluid combat, creative magic, and some of the best choreographed fight scenes in modern anime-style shows. But it's not just action. There's a lot of dialogue, politics, and slower moments that build the world and its characters. For some, that's a strength. For others, it can feel a bit drawn out at times. 2. Fate Stay Night, Unlimited Blade Works. Fate Stay Night, Unlimited Blade Works follows Shiro Emiya, a stubborn idealist who gets dragged into the Holy Grail War, a deadly conflict where mages summon legendary heroes to fight for ultimate power. Alongside Rin Tosaka and the servant Saber, he's forced to survive in a world where every alliance is fragile and every fight could be his last. At first, it feels like a standard survival battle, but it quickly turns into something more personal. The story centers on Shiro's ideals, his obsession with becoming a hero of justice, and what happens when those beliefs are challenged by reality, especially when he comes face to face with someone who represents what he might become. The tone mixes intense action with philosophical conflict, constantly questioning whether saving everyone is even possible or worth the cost. Visually, it's top tier. Animated by Ufotable, the series delivers some of the best fight scenes in anime. Fluid choreography, detailed magic effects, and cinematic direction that makes every battle feel massive. That said, it can get a bit heavy on dialogue, especially when characters start debating their ideals mid-fight. For some, that's the best part. For others, it slows things down. 1. Pokémon. In a world where creatures with incredible powers exist and humans dream of becoming the very best, Pokémon follows Ash Ketchum, an ambitious kid from Pallet Town, as he travels across regions with his partner Pikachu, aiming to become a Pokémon master. Along the way, he makes friends, battles trainers, and faces off against the shady Team Rocket. At first, it feels simple. Collect Pokémon, win battles, have fun. But it grows into something bigger. The series mixes adventure, friendship, and competition, showing how Ash and his friends learn teamwork, strategy, and courage. Every gym battle or tournament isn't just about winning, it's about growth and determination. The tone balances lighthearted humor with moments of suspense, tension, and occasional emotional weight, especially when Pokémon face real danger or trainers struggle with tough choices. Visually, it's bright, colorful, and iconic. Battles are dynamic, and the design of Pokémon and their attacks keeps the action exciting even decades later. It's not the most complex story, but it doesn't need to be. The strength lies in its characters, world building, and timeless sense of adventure. Ultimately, it's a fun, adventurous series with heart, excitement, and memorable creatures, simple in story, but endlessly engaging for all ages. And that's it for our list of the top 10 anime series based on video games. Were there any you think we missed? Drop them in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this list, please give the video a like, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing to Entangled Things for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.